Xero uses tracking categories and options instead of department codes or cost centers. This keeps your chart of accounts manageable while allowing you to add another dimension to your client's reporting. So here we are on the tracking categories page. You can navigate here by going to Accounting and Advanced and over to Tracking Categories. And if you use this often or update this often, you may want to favorite it. As you can see in the demo company, Xero has already created a tracking category for us, and that is region. That is the overarching category, and then underneath we'll have category options, and you create up to 100 options for each category. You can see there's the East Side region, North region, South and West Coast region. Now we can add up to 2 total tracking categories by clicking Add Tracking Category. Now, some example use cases I've seen might be adding departments, rental properties, if you want to see your income statement by rental property, locations, regions, as we've seen here. I've also seen nonprofits use this for grants. So let's give this new category a name. We'll call this departments. And then we're going to add some options in here. You can add additional categories by clicking Add Another Item. And then once you've added all of your options, we'll click Save. And I do like that they call out that we have multiple options here. So let's remove one of those. Duplicate options, I should say. Now you can apply these tracking categories to most transactions in Xero, including invoices, bills, quotes, purchase orders, spend and receive money transactions. I'll go ahead and link in the lesson module a list of all of those transactions that you can apply tracking categories to. Now you can also apply tracking categories to previously reconciled transactions using Xero's Find and Recode tool, as well as budgets if you're using Xero's budget functionality. So let's demonstrate what that might look like. Let's head over to the checking account. And then we're just going to assign a couple of these transactions to the new tracking categories that we just created. We have a deposit here for Jacaranda Maple Systems. We're going to make sure to give them a contact name. For simplicity's sake, we're going to code it to sales. And you'll see here at the bottom of this transaction, you have those 2 tracking categories. We have region and we have departments. Now we can apply both categories if we would like, or just one. Let's click OK. Let's do the same thing here with Smart Agency. This is an advertising expense that we're going to associate with the marketing department. Now that's reconciling those individual transactions. Recall on the cash coding screen that you also have the tracking categories as options for coding here as well. So you have region and departments, and this is going to allow you to code these transactions very quickly to these fields. So sorting by payee, I can take these 7-Eleven transactions. I'm going to highlight them both, and I'm going to code them to sales. Remember to tab over to have that apply to both of these transactions, and then we'll click Save and Reconciled. Now, lastly, what we can do to assign tracking categories to transactions is to head over to Find and Recode. Find and Recode is Xero's tool to quickly reclassify transactions, and this is great if you already have reconciled transactions that you need to assign tracking categories. So this is a bit of cleanup work. So we're going to head over to Accounting and Advanced. Find and Recode. Again, this is one of those ones that you'll definitely want to favorite. If you do not have the advisor role, you won't have access to this, so just something to keep in mind. Now let's look for some transactions that have been historically coded. We're going to search for transactions coded to a specific account, and maybe that's all advertising costs. So you can see here the transaction that we had just coded to market here in this account, but we have a few other transactions here that are not assigned to any region or department. So we can select those 3 transactions and simply recode them. And if I click add, we'll see those tracking categories here. We can now code this to marketing. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the income statement to see how this looks. And we can run an existing common format report. Let's click compare departments. And what's really great about this report is that, number one, if you don't have any data assigned to a specific department, it won't appear here. Remember, we added 4 category options and one of them is not showing because we did not code any transactions to it. Secondly, you're always going to have an unassigned column. So if you have transactions that are not assigned to a department, it'll appear here. This will allow you to identify transactions that you may need to go back and define and recode to assign to a tracking category. And this makes it really easy to add additional dimensions into your reporting to see where the expenditures are going. Now, lastly, if you want to make any updates to the tracking categories, we'll head back in there. Recall we're able to have 2 tracking categories active at any given time. If we want to archive one that we are no longer using, we can simply click the X right next to the tracking category name. So let's say we don't need region anymore. Region and 4 options will be archived as they have been applied to purchase orders or transactions used in reports. So you cannot delete tracking categories that have already been used. And you'll see another tab here on the right-hand side for archived. And at any given time, if you want to restore this category, you can click restore. And Xero will give you the option to restore all archived tracking options from region rather than just that one option. And that's a quick look at tracking categories. Hopefully that'll help you create more detailed reporting for your clients.